Do you struggle to get things done consistently? Every single day looks like a big struggle. Like, you know exactly what you want to achieve, you know exactly what you want to do, but you're just not able to do it consistently. We've just finished the first quarter of 2024. And as always, whenever you start a year, you have certain things that you want to achieve. But somehow, at the end of the year, you are still going to push over like the things that you wanted to achieve to the following year because you're not able to get things done consistently. If that is you, then you may be struggling with something that is called self-motivation. And in this video, we want to help you develop self-motivation from today so that you can start hitting the goals of the next quarter in 2024, that is between now and June. And at the end of the year, you are going to be counting progress, not missed opportunities. Not another year of staying in the same place, but moving forward. Because life is tremendously or majorly about progress. And that's essentially what we celebrate as people. My name is Dennis Mboro. I'm the founder of DSM Advisory and Consulting, where we help entrepreneurs with unique ideas to articulate them, to package them, to present them for the market, as well as focusing on aspects of personal branding, which is critical because essentially you are unique and today's business is built around personal brands. So therefore, when you follow our content, you're going to learn more about that and other aspects of business articulation. Okay, with that done, I'll start by first talking about why self-motivation is a big issue for most people. Talking about this in previous videos, like it's about pleasing people, it's about making dad or mom happy, not really doing something for yourself. And if you're not used to doing things for yourself, when you become an adult and now have to start doing things for yourself, it becomes challenging because it seems like there's no motivation, there's nobody who is standing there to ensure that you get things done. And therefore, you find yourself getting behind because you never really learned how to do things for yourself. And the question here is like, how do you start doing things for yourself today? Like very, very easily from today. We are currently in the season of celebrating Easter. I know there are a lot of eggs that have been put out there, but the origin of the Easter celebration is the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ for the purpose of saving all of mankind from sin. Some of you believe in Christianity, some of you do not, but let's just use this as an example. Of course, as always, this is a big part of what influences what I do. When Christ was here on earth, he suffered a lot. He went through so much. He was ridiculed, he was beaten, and eventually, like what you are celebrating on Friday, or you are remembering, is that he was killed by guys. Like, essentially he was killed. He was put on a cross by people who are not very happy with him, who are not very happy with his message. And ultimately, on the third day, he rose again. But the question is, like, did he really want to be put on the cross? When you read the scriptures, you notice that Christ, that's one of the things that he knew he was going to go through, but it was something that he really dreaded. At some point, he even required encouragement because what he was doing was something that was very difficult. He was human, just like all of us are human, and thinking that he has to go through something so difficult was very, very, very weighty on him. And in as much as like our lives may not compare to that degree, there are certain things that are very weighty on us that we definitely have to do, and we have to go through a period of suffering to ensure that we are able to get those things done. Of course, this is a totally different scale of suffering. We are just using this as an example to borrow for the purpose of applying to our own lives, which may not compare to that degree of suffering that he went through. But the reason, because even when you read the book of John chapter 3 verse 16, that's something that many Christians and non-Christians don't know. Like, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whomsoever believes in him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. So there was a love there that God the Father had for the whole population, a love that God the Son also, Jesus Christ, had for the whole population, that now prompted them to intervene and essentially offer a pure sacrifice without blemish for us to be saved from sin, from destruction, essentially from ourselves. Because anytime that you leave human beings by themselves, they generally tend to self-implode, and therefore the reason why God chose to save us from our own selves, like from our own sin and our own sinful nature. So that whole work is something that we call redemption. It's redemption. It's redemptive work. It is work that is supposed to restore the state of things from the way they are, from a very bad position to a place where they are better, to a better position. Essentially from a bad state to a better state. And the reason why it is important to think about this example of Jesus Christ, especially in this season, is to think about how redemption applies to what you do each and every day. Usually, finding a motivation to do things just for yourself can become a bit challenging, because you can be able to slack off, you can be able to maybe take a day or two off, but anytime you think about this idea of redemption, restoring things to a way that they are supposed to be, it can push you to even go through some challenges for the purpose of ensuring that the redemptive work is done. So think about what you do every day. It doesn't necessarily have to be like your place of employment. It can even be your children. If you're married and have kids, it can be your relationships with the people who are around you. It can be your relationships with your environment. It can be your relationships with the people that you interact with, or the people who seem to be forgotten in society. There is a lot of redemptive work to be done in this world, and if everybody, each and every one of us, normally has something that they feel needs to be redeemed. Like, what should we do to ensure that we move these things? We ensure that we clean our environment, we clean our rivers, we ensure there are no street boys there are no street children, there are no, like, essentially the world is a better place. So that is the whole idea of redemption. Even at your place of work, whatever your business is about, it has some kind of redemptive purpose. Unless you're selling drugs or some illegal stuff, there's some kind of redemptive purpose in each and everything that you do. So how does a redeemed state look like, and how can you contribute to ensuring that things are redeemed? One day at a time, one person at a time. So this gives you like a big vision for you to pursue, or something that is going to drive you each and every day. And redemptive purpose doesn't have to be something that is so big. It can even be to ensure that everybody at least smiles once a day. Maybe you work in an environment where people are always sad and depressed. Maybe your redemptive purpose can be, when you're there, you can make someone smile. You can tell someone that, hey, you look very nice today, and that gives them a smile. It can be something as simple as ensuring that every day you have bought a sweet for a kid on the street, to just make them happy and appreciate like that small effort. So those small actions are normally what lead to society becoming better, and the more you do them, the more you build the drive, the motivation, and the passion to keep going. And that is ultimately what is going to help you to build the self-motivation you need to pretty much do anything in your life. So redemptive purpose. Everything that you do has got to have a redemptive purpose. If it's about investment, perhaps you don't want your future children or your future generations to experience the poverty that you went through. You want to give more attention to your kids because maybe you did not necessarily have that attention. There could be a negative side to it where you overdo it. So whenever you're pursuing like a redemptive purpose, let it not be from a place of brokenness, but understand how things are supposed to be ideally, and then start working on yourself to align to that, to the state of how things are supposed to be, let me say. So instead of being like, I am not going to discipline my kids because I was over-disciplined, work on understanding, like, how does redemption look like? Like, how does redemptive discipline look like? Okay, you explain to your kids that they are wrong and you give them a commensurate amount of punishment. So you get to understand, okay, what is this commensurate level of punishment? And that is what I'm going to be giving my kids. So that is going to help you to grow as a person, to be redeemed yourself, and of course to pursue this redeeming purpose, for the purpose of being self-motivated. So yeah, that is it for today. I wanted to talk about how you can be self-motivated from today, essentially for the next quarter, to ensure that at the end of the year, you're not talking about the things that you're talking about all these past years. And one of the places you can start is by pursuing a redemptive purpose, understanding how things are supposed to be once they are redeemed, and working towards that each and every day. And that is going to give you the momentum and the motivation to keep yourself going, regardless of what challenges you may face. We followed the example of Christ, where he went through so much to ensure that today we are able to live in freedom and in liberation. So how does that look like for the things that you do each and every day in every sphere of your life, to ensure that you're not just self-motivated on some things, but you are a holistically self-motivated person? So it's like being self-motivated is about pursuing things that are outside yourself, but that's another deeper thought. But for now, just think about the things that we have been talking about. So for the rest of the Easter holiday, please rest as much as you can, spend time with your family, meditate about these things. Remember, today is the 1st of April. I know there are those who are going to be watching this later, but today is the 1st of April, so therefore it's another quarter of the year 2024. So ensure that you also process the things that we have just spoken about for the purpose of making yourself make the strides that you need moving forward. Again, this has been Dennis Boro, Monday Morning Live, to ensure that your life is changed. Monday is a day that you look forward to, not a day that you dread, and a day that actually contributes to changing your life. So if you like this kind of content, as always, subscribe to our channel. If you need any of our services, they are there. You can business articulation, understanding personal branding, training, those are things that you can get in touch with us on. And most importantly, share this with somebody who needs to hear it, because these messages are impactful and have impacted me also. Until next time.